West Tigers fans, we have a massive, massive video today. We have Big Les on the show. This is going to be an absolute awesome video. We're going to be breaking down all things Tigers. So let's get him in here and let's get chatting our favorite team, and that's the black, orange, and white, baby. Sweet
Let's do it.
as. All right. Thanks for jumping on, brother. I've been wanting to do this for a long, long time. Life got hectic there. I definitely ghosted you in the DMs for sure. That's my bad. But maybe if you want to give a quick interview, like an intro to who you are, maybe a little bit about your channel and your Instagram stuff that you do, just for the people listening today.
I started the podcast back in 2020. So a little while ago now, and it was just mucking around. I was in school at that stage. I think I was about 16, so started a little bit earlier than everyone else, but just wanted to muck around. I loved footy, so I just wanted to obviously share my thoughts and really learn as much as I can about the game as well. That was sort of more the goal rather than providing my thoughts, just learning off others and just being involved in the community. And the community that's been built now, I think for rugby league content is unreal. So, over the last couple of years, just growing and growing and growing, and then obviously learning about the game, getting opportunities to speak to former players like Rennie Matua and
Dang.
Darcy Lussick and these sort of guys and just getting their sort of understandings on the game and then, growing my understanding, getting opportunities throughout the past couple of years. And yeah, it's been so much fun, dude. And yeah, keen for some more fun, I guess, over the next couple of years as well.
Absolutely. And 2026 is gonna be a big year, I think, for you, man. Like I saw you're playing in a charity match. That's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Sportshed TV charity match shout out the 22nd of February. It happens every year. And they get a bunch of content creators to jump in and represent different charities. It's Mark Hughes this year that I'll be playing for again. Obviously got to play for them last year and Goanna Academy, who got introduced last year as well. So it's a great day for charity. I definitely recommend if you haven't been selected in the day or if you're just a fan of the game, fan of these content creators, book a ticket, come down. It goes towards a great cause. There's food trucks. There's going to be a bunch of things on the day. So make sure that you book your tickets. Ringrose Park. The game's going to be around 2:30, 3 o'clock on the 22nd of Feb. So get yourselves down there.
Beauty. You guys heard it first. And if I could, I would be there, but I live in America, so I can't really make the commute down. But hopefully next year I'll be there. We'll see what happens. So, mate, before we get stuck into some questions I have for you about the West Tigers specifically, let us know what team you go for. What team do you support? And how do you honestly feel about them in 2026?
Yeah, dude. So I support South. Unfortunately for last year, tough little ride, but yeah, I'm a Rabbitohs fan. I'm much more confident about them this year than I was last year. Unfortunately, with all the injuries and stuff like that, it would really hurt us over the past 2 seasons. So it'll be good to sort of get us, I guess, fully together and hopefully uninjured going into 2026. And a few of these guys can shine. We've got a really good squad this year. So I'm thinking that we can definitely make the eight if we put our heads down and have a really good season.
For sure, man. And you guys still got Sullivan, right?
Yeah, we've still got Bud Sullivan from you.
There we
We've
go.
re-signed him as well. So I'm keen to see how he goes. He was one of the front runners for the halfback jersey as well last year. So keen to see how he's training this year. Haven't heard too much of him, but yeah, still got him in there. So it'd be good for depth for sure.
Definitely. Sweet. So, part of your show, your podcast, you cover all teams, man. Like every team, every player type thing. So honestly, where do you see the West Tigers doing well this year? Where do you see us maybe struggling a bit? Like just your overall thoughts on the West Tigers. We'll start like getting nitty-gritty here soon, but just your overarching umbrella statement about the West Tigers in 2026.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, right? I think it's going to be a really interesting year to see if you guys can pull your way back into the eight. I think you've got the squad to do so this year. Obviously, a lot of these new guys coming in, it's their second year at the clubs, like your Luais, your Terrell Mays, these sort of guys. You get Kai Paul in as well in the back row, so that's going to be really nice. I just think you've built a really nice young base at the club as well, like your Sione Finus. You've got a couple other younger guys in the wings as well, ready to come in. Hamasi Makasini in the back line more specifically, but more so the pack. I think is really exciting. You look at some of these names here that you've got. Talked about Kai Paul, Samuel
Mhm.
Afanu, Sione Fanu, Fanua Pole, Tony Sukar. These sort of guys. Seyfarth will be trying to push his way back into the 17. Um, yeah, look, it's a really exciting 1 to 17 for you guys. I think Dream Buller's obviously going to be the watch to see what happens with him and his contract. But other than that, I think that this side is a top eight looking roster. If they can get there at end of year, that's going to be the big question for me. But I think it's going to be a really interesting year. I think Adam Dewey as well. Like, you've got him obviously rumored to be the starting seven. Um, how that works out, obviously, he had a couple of good games there towards the back end of the year, but how that works out for a full season, we'll have to wait and see. Um, it's definitely an exciting team, bro. I'm sure as a West Tigers fan yourself, you'd be pretty keen on this lineup.
Definitely, and I am, man. It's like for the first time in a long time, especially after last season, seeing where we are, considering all the drama around Galvin and then injuries and then over this offseason boardroom politics and all the crap that came with that, the way that Benji Marshall and the boys have handled that, I think has been super encouraging and honestly pumped me up for 2026 because the boys are locked in, man. They want it bad. And again, like you said, Dream Buller is up in the air. Like no one knows anything other than the Dragons possibly having some chats with him, and then even possibly the Bulldogs. I mean, I've got guys on my channel for the last year that have been saying that he's going to sign with the Bulldogs. And so, a question for you is, do you think we re-sign Buller? Do you think he's the man for the job for the West Tigers in fullback? Now having someone like Jack Attard, having someone like Heath Mason, and if you do think that we should sign Buller, is it for the $900,000 price tag that we put on him?
That's the question, right? Is he going to be worth the 800 and 900K? I think he's worth having because he's an absolutely unbelievable player. I'm just not sure that the Jacketards and the Heath Masons can do as good of a job as what we've seen from Dream Buller, and he's just learning the game, Dream Buller, year on year. I mean, 2 years ago, this time 2 years ago, if you asked me if Dream Buller was worth 800, 900K, I would have said no, flat. Now I'm not as sure because we know that he's working towards his ceiling. I think that we haven't reached his ceiling yet, Dream Buller, but he's certainly working towards it. And yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I actually don't even have an answer at the moment. I think that we've just got to see how he goes this year. And if he has a big season for the West Tigers this year, they can get close to finals with him there at fullback, and he's a standout in this lineup, which I'm sure he can be. I tend to think that he's probably worth the 800K long term because what he's going to be able to do for you guys at fullback is going to be outstanding. And as I said, the guys like Jackatard and your Heath Mason, sure, they do a good job there, but I think that Dream Buller and where his ceiling's at and where he can get to, I just think he's a little bit better than those guys. But I'm keen to see more of Jackatard for sure. Hopefully, he gets a few tastes of first grade because he's a very good player in himself.
For sure, man. You so well said. Like, yeah, we have these guys here, but at the same time, we have Dream Buller, who is kind of this next level, kind of more of an elite player, and I think one of the Hall of Famers to be like as a fullback or possibly even as a winger eventually. I don't know, but regardless, we have him as an option. We have options this year, and last year West Tigers didn't have much option, especially when it came to depth in our forward pack. Like, we was just riddled with injuries. We had lost players throughout the season. We really came down to just Terrell May running the forward pack, honestly, with Fanua over there and the Fayunu brothers. And so having people like Kai Paul, Bunty Afoa, Tony Suka, like these guys coming through the system, where do you see our forward pack landing this year? Who would you play, and who would you put on the bench, and then who would you not even kind of include? Just looking at our forward pack there.
As I was sort of saying, mate, I think what's really attractive about the Tigers pack this year is just the young base. You've got a really, really young pack. Some guys that, there's definitely some older guys in there for sure, but you've just got young guys like your Samuel Afinu's,
Mhm.
even Latu. I think he'll end up at lock if he's not at halfback. So you've got him there. Sione Finu. Fanua Pole, Tony Sukar, as you mentioned. I think all of these guys are in the 17 somewhere. If I'm putting it all together, I think you'll probably see Terrell May and Alex Twall start. I think that Twall's a starter. I don't think you can see him coming off the bench, and I definitely would have him in the 17 somewhere. So Twally and Terrell May will probably start for me. I'd have Latu at 13. If he's not at halfback, as I said, I think Samuela plays left, Kaipi's Paul right side. And then I've got Sione Fainu, Funua Pole, and Tony Sukar on the bench. Obviously, Sukar can slot onto an edge, but I'd be more focused on playing him through the middle, and I'd play Fainu and Pierce Paul 80 minutes. I think they can bash out the full 80 there on the edges. I think the exciting one is Kai Pierce Paul, bro, because I think we're going to see a lot more of his game sort of start to open up. I think there's an offload there that we haven't really fully explored. A bit of footwork. I think that he can be really damaging in open space. So he might be a guy that has a bit of a breakout season for you. But yeah, look, that's how I'd structure my pack. As I said, guys like Alex Seyfarth, I think he's unfortunate to miss out.
Hmm.
Player, but I just feel like he misses out. The one to watch, I guess, to break into the 17 is Mav Gaia, who you've also signed for this year. Very, very good player, Maverick Gaia. I think that just covering positions for what he did for Penrith last year, having to play in the centres for 2 games back to back, full 80 minutes. Then obviously playing a little bit of back row there as well when there were some injuries and coming off the bench and doing a job. He's an absolute weapon. I love Maverick Gaia, and I think he's been training in the middle from what I've heard. I think he's
Hmm.
been training as a 13, so that might be a bit of a one to watch. If Latu does move back into that halfback jersey and they want to utilize Adam Doueihi as more of a utility, maybe they do play Mav Gaia at 13. Um, but yeah, that'll be the interesting watch, right? That will be the one to sort of watch breaking into the 17. I think he is definitely the sort of cat that would be a bit of a breakout star and kill it in the lower grades and then force his way in.
For sure, yeah, and same thing with Makasini, man. I think we're going to see a big season from him. And then yeah, the big question too for us Tigers fans is Bunty Afoa and Royce Hunt. Like, where do those two fit into the equation? Royce started all right with us last season, dipped off, ended up in Cup, and now we've signed Backfans Bunty on I think it's a developmental deal for a year. Where do they fit into this whole equation, or do you honestly see them just being Cup players and kind of a depth impact player when we need them?
To start the year, probably Cup. I love Bunty. I know that a lot of people love Bunty for his back fence carries. I just feel like him and Royce, just the experience that they're going to be able to implement. You know, we talked about that young base that you guys have. I just love them playing a couple of games in New South Wales Cup to start the year at least, and just being those experienced heads in Cup. Royce Hunt, mind you, has come back extremely fit. So if he's in this 17, there is no surprise there whatsoever, and I think he'll work his way in there at some stage. But I do think that they will probably start in Cup, and they'll just be that experience to the young forwards that you're sort of bringing through at the moment. I think that that's probably the way that they start the year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we'll see a kind of a battle out between Bunty and Royce, and the reason I say that is it's kind of odd that we've signed Bunty on a 1 year contract, on a developmental deal contract, and with the season that Royce had last year as well, I could honestly see this being a battle out for a longer contract because Royce was open to chat with other clubs, this off season. We decided to keep him around. He's looking fit. He's looking shredded. I'm excited to see what he does. But I honestly see Benji playing them at a point where it's like, all right, your career with the West Tigers like rides or dies on this season, and we want to see the very best out of you. That's honestly where I've landed with it all. And I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting season to see those two play for their position, I think.
I do have two more guys that I'm just looking at the squad
Yeah, yeah,
now that
yeah.
I break their way into the 17. One's Kit Lowley. I've
Oh,
really
yep.
loved what I've seen from him in little games there. He's very, very good. I think that he'll be a guy that forces his way in at some stage. I also like the prospect of bringing in Jared Hayward. I think that just having another 9 there, I don't think Appy's going to be able to play 80 or even I'd say 60. I think that you're going to realistically see Appy play less and less minutes, just obviously getting older. And I think you could see at the back end of last year when he was playing some pretty decent minutes, the fatigue level was there and there was a few errors and just he did not look comfortable playing big minutes. I think that you've got to potentially cap the minutes a little bit. I was talking about it on the burst. I'm keen to hear your thoughts as a Tigers fan. I know that a lot of Tigers fans have ripped me about it already, but I'd almost play Api Coruscant off the bench. similar to what they did at Penrith, and then I'd start maybe a Hayward or a Tristan Hope at nine. Because I just feel like with Appy getting older, you've got these younger guys you want to bring through. Why not just give them starting spots, let them play the first 20, 30 minutes of a game, and then just bring on Appy for the last couple of minutes there? I think that that's probably the way to go. You'll probably get the best of Appy as well around tired forwards, in and around the ruck. I think that he'd be so dangerous. So I'd be more inclined to start a Jared Hayward or to start a Tristan Hope, play them for the first, I'd say, as I said, 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes, and then have Appy on the back end of the game for the last 40, 50 minutes. So that's the way that I'd go. But what are your sort of thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, and honestly, you're not far off the mark, eh? Because for the last at least last year, I've said like Appy, I love him, all that, but he's getting old, and you can tell like there in some of those games where we were really getting flogged and we're really like just trucking along. You could tell that he was just gassed out, and rightfully so, man. To play 80 minutes at that level is crazy. But one thing that I agree with is not starting him, man. Like I think giving him as much rest as he can. That way he can come on the field and be just give us maximum power, maximum energy, commitment. All that is hands down the best thing to do. I don't know if Haywood is going to make first grade this year just because we have someone like Tristan Hope. But we also have Heath Mason that I'm not sure if you saw the article, but he came out and said that he's been training in the 14 jersey and hopefully getting something started there. And so my thought instantly is, all right, so Mason's probably going to be next up for the hooker spot along with Tristan Hope, but Haywood is honestly going to be a great prospect in first grade eventually. I just don't know if it's going to be 2026 unless, I mean, touch wood, we don't get riddled with injury. Like it would have to come down to that, I think, to see Haywood on our starting lineup. But that's just me personally. Um, and you've mentioned
I
a
think
few times. Yeah, yeah, you go, you go.
I think Heath Mason is so wasted at nine, so
Really?
wasted. Like I think he's got so much. He's got potential for sure. Like I mean, you look back at that Cowboys game and
Hmm.
how well he played there, and they nearly won that one too. So I just think he needs a full pre. I'd play him for a full preseason at six and just get him accustomed to that sort of role. And then when if Luai goes and plays Origin and stuff like that, that's when I'd
Hmm.
sort of bring him in. Yeah, I just think he's wasted in a nine role. I think he's too good of a player to be pulled out of a six or a one spot. I think that that's where he can really carve, and I think it takes away from his development as well. I think there's really no point in playing Heath Mason in a nine role. But look, if that's where he's training, then that's what it is. That sort of worries me a little bit then for what we were saying about Api Coruscant too.
Right.
Like if you've got Heath Mason playing 14, I actually honestly doubt it'd be at nine where he comes onto the field. He'd probably come on in a bit more of a roaming capacity, which means you're going to have to play Appy for 80 minutes unless
Mm.
Latu Finu slots in there from lock. I don't like it. I'd rather have, as I said, probably one of Jared Hayward or Tristan Hope starting, and then I'd have Appy Coruscant coming off the bench. To be honest, mate, by end of year, I think it would be Jared Hayward. I just think the young guy coming through, you're already a little bit at risk of losing Dream Buller. So I wouldn't really want to do that with another young player. And I think we're sort of going to see it over the next couple of years at the Broncos with the young hookers that
Mm.
they've got. They'll probably have to lose at least one or two of those guys. So I think that you've got to give Jared Hayward that confidence. If he's playing well in Cup, I'd bring him in and I'd probably start him at nine and then have Abby coming off the bench for the next couple of years.
Man, and I'm all for that. Like, I would love to see that. I just, yeah, with Mason's comments about being in 14, I'm just like, man, I don't know where this is going to go. It's going to be an interesting couple first weeks. But I'm intrigued to see what Benji does for preseason. I think that's going to give us a bit of insight into where his mind's at, where he's putting the young guns out there on the field. Just seeing kind of like people like Hamasi Makasini, or Saukuru, like those guys where's Benji's head's at, and that's what I really intrigued to see. But you've mentioned that our squad is young, it's fresh, it's been built over this last year, which is great. Do you see that as a potential weakness for us? Do you see that as kind of a poison, if you will, something that could really bite us in the butt throughout the season, or do you think that young, fresh, green talent that are just eager to get that top eight, eager to make Benji happy, and eager to prove that the Tigers are in this to win it? Like, do you or where are you at with all that? Do you think it's a real thing, or do you think this is something that could be a little bit dangerous to us?
Not at all, bro. I think that you've got enough experience around your side where the youth is only going to be a positive. I mean, especially in the forward pack, you've just got young legs that are ready to go. Now, sure, there might be a few errors and things like that they might give away as they're sort of getting used to the first grade and the speed of the game and whatnot. Other than that, bro, I think that you've got such a really nice balance. I mean, Terrell May's been in first grade long enough now. I'd almost look at him as a senior player. You've obviously got as well guys at Samuel Afanu, who's had his fair taste of first grade now. Royce Hunt and Bunty Afoa, you've got in the squad who can just be a bit of leaders around this side as well. For the backs, you've signed Patrick Herbert, which has gone
Mm.
so under the radar. I think that he's going to be a bit of a leader there, even if he's not playing first grade. Adam Dewey, Jerome Luai in the halves. You've got guys that have been around the club for a while now, more so Adam Dewey, but Jerome Luai obviously coming in and being a leader in this side straight away. Abby Coruscant, Taylor May's had his fair share of first grade. Taruva, like these sort of guys are leaders around this side now. And even though they're quite young themselves for the most part, they've seen enough first grade and they've seen enough winters where they can really get around these young guys and set a really good example. And I think they've already sort of done that. In the past couple of years, or even this preseason, from the footage and from what I'm hearing, it sounds like a really positive environment. So, I think that you've got enough experience there that it's only going to be a positive to have young legs who are eager for first grade and competing for spots. It's going to create a really good culture, mate. Honestly, over the next 2 to 3 years, I think you guys will be the next Bulldogs. With what Critter's done over there, obviously with his leadership and the culture that they've sort of created over there at the Dogs, I can see a very similar thing sort of starting to mold here with the Tigers, with their side and the young guys they've got coming through.
Not mad about that, from being honest with you, Big Les. I am not mad about that. And culture has been, I think, the biggest thing that we've been lacking for years until Benji came up into the club as a coach for us. And so, from the outside, do you think the Tigers are still the NRL's laughing stock, still the NRL's punching bag, or do you think the narrative is starting to stack for the positive for us?
It'll start to stack to the positive when you start making top eight footy. I think that there's always gonna be something about the Tigers when you're not playing finals. I mean, you look at last year as well, with the whole Galvin thing and all that sort of stuff. If you guys can keep yourselves out of the media, and if you guys can, keep most things in-house, which to be fair, like last 2 years, it has mostly been in-house other than Lockie Galvin and the whole saga
Yeah,
there. So I think that what you guys are sort of starting to build culture-wise, I do think that once that top eight is made, and once you guys can make the top eight and play some good footy, play some finals, get further and further each year, all of a sudden you're looking at the Tigers as a top eight threat. I'm sort of looking at them as a little bit of a top eight threat. Not so much to make the eight this year, but I think they're definitely a threat, with the side that they've got and what they're building there culture wise. So they'll be an interesting watch for sure. But I don't think the headlines and I don't think the comments and the I guess external pressure on Benji is going to really stop until you guys make the top eight.
for sure. And with that, man, what are your thoughts on Benji? Do you think he's the man for the job? Do you think he's a cop out? He's washed? Honestly, man, just what are your thoughts straight up?
I look at Benji how I look at Wayne, not so much as coaching ability as I'm not saying that Benji Marshall's going to be the next Wayne Bennett, but what I'm saying is that both of these guys, what they have in common is that they're man managers. They get around the boys, similar to Origin coaching. Really, if you get a good enough assistant coaching staff around you, you can just be a bit of a man manager there as head coach, and that's the sort of style that I think Benji's going for. People are sort of commenting and criticizing the fact that he's mates with a lot of the players and that he's played with some of them, and he's getting along well and building those relationships. I mean, look at Ricky Stewart and the Canberra Raiders. He's sort of doing a similar thing there. Like he's very, very close with his playing group. No one's criticizing Ricky Stewart. Why? Because they've had success and they've gone into finals. I mean, they were first last year on the ladder as well. So, I think it's a similar sort of thing with Benji. I think trying to implement a similar sort of style. And the thing I love about Benji is he's a no bullshit guy. Like
Yeah.
take any sort of shit from anyone, from journos, from external noise. But at the same time, look at how good he's and close he is and tight knit he is with his playing group and all of the positive, how much the boys love Benji and the fact that we were having a discussion at the back end of last year when there were so many rumors swirling about Benji and his future before he was re-signed that we had players saying they were going to leave the club and get early releases if Benji was to be let go. So, I mean, that just shows you how much of a tight knit connection he's building with his playing group. Now, that can be a positive and a negative for the club. I mean, obviously, as I said, if Benji is to move on, players might move on as well. So, I mean, that creates a little bit of a headache for the club. But in the now, looking at how close he is with his playing group and what they're building culture wise, as we sort of alluding to before, I think it's a really positive thing.
For sure, mate. So bloody well said. And yeah, it's refreshing to hear someone from the outside that isn't, all West Tigers get up, all that, say like Benji is the man. He's a no BS kind of guy. He's mates with the players. That is honestly awesome. So we've got the culture, we've got the coach, we've got the players, we've got the young talent. All in all, man, we should be going on a bloody good run this year. And if we're not, what do you think it comes down to? And then what is your I don't know how to phrase it. What matchup are you looking forward to the most going up against the West Tigers?
That's a good question, bro. I haven't looked too deeply into the draw just yet for the Tigers. I think their preview for the season preview for our podcast is next week.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. So I haven't looked too deeply into the draw yet. What is
Or
it
just
going to come down?
historically, like what games do you love watching where the Tigers are involved? Like for me, it's always the Cowboys, something about '05, and just our glory days back then. And then for some odd reason, like now whenever we play the Cowboys, it's always just a magic game. Something crazy always happened. It's just a phenomenal game.
Dude, honestly, any game against the top eight side, that's what I'm sort of keen for the Tigers. I want to
Mm,
see where you're at.
mm,
Obviously, we're going to see that's in round, I guess, three, sorry,
mhm,
because you guys go up against South.
mhm.
You go up against Para in round five. You got Broncos round seven. So you've got some decent little matchups there in the first couple of rounds, obviously with the bye with round one. Um, but yeah, look, I think any game against the top eight side, I'm sort of keen to look at here for the Tigers because I just want to see where they're at. I want to see where they're at to start the year, and then obviously leading into the back end of the year when they're sort of fighting to be in the eight. Where are they at then? That's going to be the big test for me. I think biggest um, their biggest headache will be if they don't make finals. It'll be the seven jersey for me because I think they've got to make a decision there. If Adam Dewey's the
Mm.
seven, pick and stick. If Elatu Fino is the seven, pick and stick. They can obviously afford to chop and change a little bit at the start of the year, but once we get to round eight, nine, I want to see a bit more of a consistent halves pairing. I want to see the same sort of guys in first grade. And I mean, what I love about the Tigers going into this year as well is that the Tigers, the last 4 years, I'd say, not including last year, were very chop and change with their backline too. And that created a ton of headaches for combinations and stuff like that. And I think that hurt you guys quite a bit. And I honestly think it's one of the reasons as to why you guys were where you were during that spoon period too, because there was just not a lot of consistency with where your side was going. But I do think now you've got a really pretty much set in stone backline. I think that, and I've said this to a Tigers fan the other day, and they didn't agree, but I think that Hamasi Makasini probably starts the year over Skelton, too, in that left wing spot next to Talon May. Um, Other than that, I think that this backline's pretty set and forget. It's Dream Buller, it's Talon May, Starfatoa, and then Taruva. So I think that that is going to be what you guys sort of look like. And I don't think that's going to really change too much unless there's inconsistencies with form and whatnot. So you've got the consistencies there. I think the consistencies will obviously come in the halves pairing once you lock down a seven. Once that all starts to build, I think that's going to be fine. But if that doesn't lock itself in, going into this year, then that's where I think the headaches will come. So I think consistency with sides picked week to week, pending injuries, of course, is going to be the make or break for the Tigers. And obviously just their attitude and, how they go into games and whatnot, I think is going to be the big one as well.
For sure, man. You said that so well. And You're not far off the mark again, mate, with the Hamasi Makasini thing. I'll tell you that. It's either going to be Skelton or it's going to be Star Toa. And I mean, that's what I mean. We got these young guns coming through. We got new signings coming through that are really going to be testing and pushing the limits of the guys that have been in our squad for a little bit. And I'm excited for that because at the end of the day, I want what's best for our team. And just leveling us up each and every time. That's what I want. And if that means we got to let go of people or demote people like Skelton or Toa, I'm all right with that because I know we got people like Makasini or Haywood coming through, and that's just that. So, brother, thanks so much for jumping on the show. This has been so much fun. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to keep seeing what you're doing. Where can people find you? What do you talk about? Give your plug, and we'll get out of here.
Thank you, brother. Big Les's League on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Big Les's League podcast. We also have YouTube, Big Les's, sorry, Instagram, Big Les's League underscore. Give us a follow there as well. Plenty of content, jersey swaps, all that fun stuff. I do talk a bit of rugby league as well, so the podcast is definitely worth a follow. More exclusive stuff on the Spotify and Apple podcast, but YouTube, we're just starting to get that on a bit of a roll. A few interviews to start the year as well. Isaac Issa just came out as well. We had an interview with him just about his journey, which was really cool to see. So all that sort of stuff. Follow us all on all the platforms. Big Les's League podcast, and big year this year. Obviously, the charity match, which we spoke about at the start as well. If you are around the Parramatta area, Ringrose Park, 22nd of Feb, I'll be playing in that. Some of your favorite content creators will be playing in that as well. So buy your tickets, get involved in the day. Should be good.
Absolutely. Matty G is going to be on the team as well. We've had him on the show a couple times. And then Isaac Issa's not on the show, but he is not on the game, but he is a good friend of the show. Actually had him on the show back when he first started his Instagram page. And now, bro, is at like over 12K followers. It's crazy. He's just absolutely exploded. So I'm so pumped for him. But thanks for jumping on, Big Les. And yeah, everyone run him up. Follow on all the platforms and make sure you get down Parramatta area to the park there and watch him absolutely kill it out there on the field. All right, Big Les, you take it easy, mate.
You too, brother.